This is the talk of the day, and you know I cannot challenge you to tell your stories and then shy away from telling my own story. So as an artist, you all know that I am an artist. I draw and I paint. And most of the questions that I get is like, how did you become an artist? From an early age, I learned how to do crafts from my grandmother, who was a great potter, very skillful. And she also did designs on her pots, on her clay pots. And she also did a lot of storytelling. Apart from doing storytelling, she was also a skillful farmer, and she really had a good green hand. And also she was making mats, table mats, and mats that we use like rugs. So I learned a lot of observation skills from my grandmother. And then I also learned from my mother, who both of them didn't have a lot of access to education, but they taught themselves. So my mother taught herself to sew, and her father owned a treadmill, which is like an industrial sewing machine. And on that treadmill, she observed her father sewing on that treadmill, and then she taught herself to do the cutting of the patterns and to design dresses. And then she was just a production machine in her father's store. So I learned from my family some of the skills that I use as an artist, because I also worked as a textile designer and as a fashion designer. When it comes to developing as an artist, I know there might be some young girls that are out there that are also looking at becoming artists. I pretty much had to teach myself, because at the time when I wanted to learn art academically, I didn't have the access to learn art academically. I didn't go to schools that offered art as a subject in school, in terms of going to school in primary school and also secondary school. So I didn't have access to learn art as a subject. So I simply just taught myself. And when it was time for me to continue to improve my skills, I was admitted into a vocational training center at Muzilikazi Art and Craft Center in Bulawayo in 1990. And so you can tell I've been here for a while, and I've been an artist for a while. And that was the time, by the time I was at Muzilikazi Art and Craft Center doing art at the Muzilikazi Art and Craft Center, I was already skilled and ready to exhibit. So I started exhibiting my art in 1990. And once I graduated from the Muzilikazi Art and Craft Center, it was time for me to apply to college and to go to college. But before I applied for college, I had to do like high school art, which I did. And the first exam paper that I reviewed was the actual exam paper, because I just thought, well, it's art. And one of the person that was teaching me just told me, it's art. If you learn the skills, they will tell you what to draw. Just learn the skills. So I was just practicing without knowing what will come in the exam. And I remember very well, there was an object drawing, a still life drawing, that had a papaya that was cut. And I remember detailing those papaya seeds the inside of the papaya seed. I mean, after drawing that, you could almost like want to eat that papaya, those papaya slices, because it was just so realistic to the T. And I also remember that when I sat for that exam, I was the only female in that room. And I was sitting for this exam with professionals whom I already knew, because at that time I was a member of the Artists Association at the National Art Gallery in Bulawayo. Visual Artists Association. We used to call it VAB. For some of you that are from Zimbabwe who are artists, you remember that association. And working in that association also helped me to improve my skills, because I was working with professionals who were better than me at drawing, life drawing. And so it helped me to polish my skills. And when it was time for me to apply to go to college to actually pursue art academically, it took me 5-6 years to apply and to get to a place where I could be admitted. So I applied the first year, I received a regret. I applied the second year. The person that saw there was a lecturer who saw my art. They were so excited that I was so talented. Each year I went, I thought I was going to be accepted. Then the final year that I went, there was a female lecturer that came to me and said, "Hey, I see that you have been coming many years for this interview, and every year I expect you to be in the class, but I don't see you." And I told her that every year I've been coming, I receive a regret. And she said, "This year, if you receive a regret, just come to class. I am the one that will be teaching the first years. If you receive a regret, just come to class." So, long story short, she made it a point for me to receive that letter. So I received 2 letters, one from the overall college and one from the art school itself. And that was how I went in, because my portfolio was excellent. It was excellent. And so that's how I learned to compete at an academic level, to just work hard, work on my skills, and establish my voice as an artist. And as I advanced to work as an artist, I realized that most of the times I would work and I was the only female in the room, and I didn't mind. I didn't mind to be the only one in the room, because I was good at what I was doing. And because I was good at what I was doing, I did not shy away from other artists. I actually remember when I was in college, I was like the trendsetter of colors, because I was so good at mixing colors. And it was just like, once I mixed my colors, the rest of the class would mix similar colors. And so my colors were very trendy. So but I remember working really, really, really hard, and also learning from other people who had gone before me, who were female artists and who were also occupying their spaces, and they were the only ones occupying their spaces. People like Auntie Philomena Slonda, who was at the Natural History Museum as the head of the display department. And learning from her gave me a lot of confidence and gave me a lot of assurance that I was good at what I was doing. So her mentorship actually helped me to build more confidence. But at the time, and this is part of my story, at the time, it was really very rare to see a woman in Zimbabwe wearing pants. And later on to actually wear pants in a church setting. I mean, it was not something that was acceptable in the community. So I remember wearing pants and then covering my t-shirt and my pants using a lab coat. And that's how even when it was hot, I would just wear my lab coat and would not take off my lab coat. And I remember some women confronting me that I was a disgrace wearing pants. And long story short, I was pretty comfortable in wearing my pants, and I didn't mind their rebuke, because I knew as an artist I was different. So I didn't mind being different. Sometimes it just takes, if you are venturing into an area where women are rare, you venture into stuff that you can be confronted, you can be rebuked. But I didn't mind, because I was comfortable in my skin. And it actually helped me to realign my thoughts, and knowing what I was doing was going to be understood in the longer run, even though people didn't quite understand my art at the time. And some of the questions I get from younger artists is, did you get your family's blessing to do art? My father did not mind me becoming an artist, but he just wanted to make sure that if I was going to become an artist, I was going to stick through it, and it was going to pay my bills. And I am proud that I made him proud. My art paid my bills, and I actually worked a job as a chief artist in a textile designing studio. So he managed to see that and to acknowledge my skills. And I remember my father coming for my final exhibition, and he gave me quite an outstanding gift at the time. This was 1999, and being given $1,000 US in 1999 was quite a big deal. It's still a big deal even up to today. I mean, it's $1,000 US is still good money. So I also had a lot of support from my guardian, a lot of support from my father, a lot of support from all the people that were around me, and a lot of support and acknowledgement as well that empowered me to be just acknowledged by people that were close to me, by my family, by my friends, by my church community. And that gave me a lot of confidence. And it also gave me a lot of confidence because my guardians at the time, because I was in Bulawayo, which was away from home. I'm trying to stay away from names here, but my guardians at the time also did a lot of work to encourage me, and they also encouraged me. They were the ones that actually encouraged me to come to the US. And while I was in school, I also met one of America's great illustrators, Alexander Bostic. he really boosted my confidence, because he thought I was good and I could be an illustrator. I didn't want to be an illustrator, but he thought just him believing in me was all I needed. And it gave me all the confidence to also want to come to America and to explore my skills as an artist, and to also pursue education as an artist. So in a nutshell, which is not so much of a nutshell, I have shared my stories, my story as an artist. So if you know any girls who want to be artists, some of them, refer them to me. If I can mentor them, I will. And some of them, share with them this video. They will probably also realize that, oh, there are other women that are artists, and they can also become artists, because now there are so many of us women who are artists versus in the early 90s, when there were a few of us women who were artists, especially in developing countries. This is my story, and I'm challenging you to share your story. Find your voice and share your story. Your story matters, and your story will change our narrative. Love you guys.